We're back Sunday morning as usual. Banks versus Davis. We're heading towards the end of November. The end of the year is on the horizon. Finally.
Let's end this motherfucker tomorrow. How about that?
As you can see, I am Davis. He is Banks. As always, thank you for joining us. If you're a patron, our Patreon, we appreciate that. We'll be dropping more content in the following weeks. It was Thanksgiving weekend. I had a busy week as well, so the Banks, so not much dropped. I think a part of the Banks with you and Vin dropped. Shout out to Vin. Vin was our guest last week. Oddball Podcast, Raps the Rap. That's where you can find Vin. Always go support our guest, family. You know what it is. But Banks, again, we're just in the zone to just throw topics at each other and keep rolling. The one thing I wanted to talk about that you don't give two shits about, and it's something I really am not into as much as I used to be, is soccer, football. The World Cup is going on. And the other day, the U.S. drew with England 0-0. And everyone wanted to throw a fucking parade because, wow, we did it. We were able to not lose. And I don't want to get into that mindset like winning is winning. Winning matters. That's the only thing that matters. No, it's like this is more an indictment on England than it is on our improvement in the sport of soccer, because we haven't improved at all. We hire incompetent coaches time and time again. This guy is the brother of the U.S. board. He got the job because his brother got him the job. And though our young stars are playing in bigger leagues, we'll still never get to the point where making it out of the round of 16 is the big deal. That's all the U.S. can hope for. The fact that they pissed away the game against Wales because they committed a stupid penalty in the box with Gareth fucking Bale, who, again, that's not a guy you want to commit a penalty on in the final 10 minutes or so. But I haven't been able to watch the games because that's the thing about the World Cup. It comes on in the fucking afternoon when I'm at work. But yeah, I know our guys Team X, Josh, Van, Troy, I think we might have some other soccer listeners. But this, it shows Gareth Southgate, the manager of England, probably needs to be sacked, which is what they call being fired overseas, if you weren't aware.
Hey, I got a question.
What?
Who the fuck is Gareth Bale?
Gareth Bale, he's a Welsh soccer player. He used to play for Tottenham, but then he went to Real Madrid to team up with Cristiano Ronaldo in 2013. And kind of had an injury-plagued tenure off and on, but he became this super sub in the mid-2010s and helped them win back-to-back Champions Leagues, I believe. But he's until I shaved my head last week, his style is kind of what inspired me to get the haircut I had for the longest time. Him and Justin Timberlake during that 2020 experience.
No, your haircut now is kind of freaking me out, dude.
You want to talk about it for a minute?
Kind of, but not really, because I don't like complimenting a grown man like that. But I will say you look I don't know if this is a compliment. You look like American Society X. It's kind of
that isn't a compliment.
Yeah, I don't know.
You mean American History X?
No, man, I'm calling it American Society X. I know it's American history. You part of Society X. No. Well, no, that's not even your generation. I think you Generation Z.
Yeah. My dad would be X, right? Or my dad be Y?
I think he Y.
Yeah.
Because he almost 50. I'm part of Generation X, but at the same time...
No. X is before Y.
Nah, hold on. So
yeah. You fucking... If
so
I'm Z... Yeah. No, I think you're Z. Wouldn't you be?
Mm-mm.
So you would be probably the tail end of Y, yeah.
So after Z, what comes?
That's the whole debate of when does the millennials start at the end of Z, right?
Yeah, because after y'all, it's
it's the millennials, yeah. Which is why they say are people in their 20s? That was that whole debate 5 years ago. Were people in their 20s technically millennials, or were they the tail end of Generation Z? But I hate looking into that shit because I'm it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter.
Right, because I'm all right, so after anybody that was like, let's say anybody was born in 2020, like what generation? That's still Z. But then, yeah, I don't even want to.
No, it wouldn't be. It
No.
would be
So
something
what?
new.
What fucking generation?
I don't
is
know.
it?
Look it up. Ask Amber, fucking someone who's smart. I don't know.
Yeah, hold on, man. What comes after Generation Z? This is where we at right
No,
now.
I said millennial, but then the new thing, what's after millennial? I don't know that.
Millennium.
It would be
You didn't catch that joke.
no.
Okay, let's just look at it. This is what we doing today, everybody. So if you don't, thank y'all for being here. Like why you here, because I don't know what we gonna talk about, but still, we gonna.
I was gonna finish my fucking soccer point.
No,
so
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'll look up
Because
generation.
you were now fucking baffled by it. You thought you were some other generation before my father when you're 15 years younger than him.
How do we know that?
Look at him and look at you.
I mean,
I'm not saying he looks bad for his age. I'm just saying. Someone called you Unc yesterday. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. That's very embarrassing.
That's a real dickhead move. I told you. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he meant it in the way of me being old. Well, yeah, being
old. He totally did. Yeah, don't even
Bro,
don't even misconstrued. Yeah,
if I'm 33 years old and I'm considered an aunt, what the fuck is 40 then?
Yeah,
a grandfather.
Party's over, Grandpa. Like you, Brock Lesnar. Like,
I swear I'm gonna quit podcasting. Everybody, go ahead while I look up generation after Z.
No, it's just what I was trying to get to say is like, because in the last, I'd say 20 years, because my father's probably one of these guys who became an American soccer fan, not a fan like the U.S. team, but like an American who enjoys watching soccer. You know, the German league, which is Bundesliga. La Liga is over in Spain. Obviously, the Premier League is the biggest in terms of England, and the Champions League is all the countries facing each other. We had X and Josh last year talk about Manchester United and all that, but the reason, like, sure, you can celebrate these draws against England, but it's like that's all that'll ever be. Like, they won't get to the point where like they'll beat England, they'll beat Germany, they'll beat Argentina, they'll beat these other top tier countries who soccer is their number one sport, while this is probably our sixth sport. Because I didn't, again, like, to watch the game or didn't look at the stats to show how the game went, but I saw a tweet where someone's like, the U.S. had too many corners and didn't convert on any of them. And if only we had a 6'6" guy to stand in the box to try to, like, header these balls into the net, like, we would have won this game. And I'm like, the 6'6" guys are playing fucking football, basketball, and maybe fucking baseball. If they know they're gonna get a chick, it's like our top athletes will never pick soccer, and that's the way it's been, and it's the way it'll always be. It's fucking, that's how it works. But it is what it is at that point.
Yeah. And Albanian, they play the sport with no shoes on.
Yeah, that's it. Again, like, literally every country, this is their number one or number two sport. For us, it's like we fixate on football. We fix the NFL football. Like, we fixate on basketball now. Like, and our top athletes are playing that. And people are like, oh, imagine, Russell Westbrook played soccer. How good would he be? It's like, he's making $30 million to go 11 for 38 for the Lakers. Like, why would he go and fucking run around for 90 minutes? And I'm not saying that they don't make. I'm not saying they don't make money in soccer as well, football as well, but like, it's, again, the U.S. will never get to that point. It just, yeah. And that's why when the World Cup comes around, I'm just like, these fucking idiots who jump on the, like, yes, I'm so patriotic to root for the Yanks, try hard against the other countries. And, that's when the patriotism comes out. Like, like, we don't do shit, right? All we try to do is hope we get one bad team that we can try to beat, which our next and final game is against Iran, which, I mean, the politics there and the history there. Like,
oh, I thought people were joking when they said that was going to happen.
No, it's the group was Wales, England, the U.S., and Iran.
The Mohammed Hassan team.
I think he was Was he Pakistani?
No, he was like, what's?
No, he's.
You didn't say he's Italian?
I'm saying the character. Damn it! I'm not talking about the man.
It don't matter. He got a blade. Davari is definitely the mascot. Him or Mia Khalifa.
Okay. Oh no.
By the way, I'm not trying to. Talk. But I found out about Generation Alpha.
Mia Khalifa being your mascot.
That's a hell of a mascot to have.
Yeah,
it's mid. Top mid. What they say, face card is always valid. That's all she got.
I don't think she has it.
Even though
you don't think she has a couple. No, go
ahead.
You already there. You already there. Come on.
I know you know who that is, boy.
Say it.
You the one that made that 100 list of porn stars. Go ahead.
Say it. So say what you're gonna say. Her face looks like what?
Great for me. No.
Oh, you are what a fucking child.
Okay, so if when US actually goes against Iran, them you know what jokes is coming, right?
No, you didn't know. You see, this is why you weren't paying attention, because the other day, Argentina, I think, drew with Saudi Arabia, and there were all the jokes then. Like they had families held hostage and all that. And, the World Cup is in Qatar or Qatar, if you're one of those people. So you already know what's going on.
If and the Bush Jr. show up, I swear to God. First of all,
we need you to.
Make that phone call again. Go ahead and make that phone call again.
Fool me can't get fooled again.
You can't fool me again.
I will say that is a year ago, J. Cole. When he used that in a song, that was pretty good. That was clever. I will say that. I'd tip my hat to J. Cole. That's one of the only times I'll ever do that.
Don't ever tip your hat to another grown man, but that's besides the point.
No, I'm sure respect,
Bush Jr. has said some funny shit. We won't say it here, but it's some funny shit he said. I said, damn, this country. I was little and I was like, damn, this country really ain't shit. If this show's supposed to be your leader.
You really? Where are you from, then? Huh?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Africa.
Oh no!
Everybody in this chat, we from Africa.
Oh, now you doing the fucking boys in the hood?
Yeah, we just don't
My
know.
dad said the first man came from Africa.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I feel uncomfortable having this conversation with you because of your haircut. That Randy Orton 09 cut. It's really throwing me off.
No, I look like the Buster again.
I've been knowing you 2 years, and for you to have a white man lineup is crazy, yo. That's a taper for a white man.
Yeah.
This is weird, but go ahead.
If you heard this week's BRP, Bam had said, I thought about getting a certain haircut. And I'm like, yeah, I thought about it. What was if I showed up with the lines on the side and just went full
Boy, I got a joke.
Say it. No, come on. That's why we're here. Say it.
Because I know somebody with them lines in their head.
So?
Nah, you can't get them Wiz Khalifa lines, bro. That was all the rage in 09.
Yeah.
Bro.
Because the guys from the fucking Jersey Shore would have the gelled hair on top and then the fucking designs on the side.
Twins, what's up? They both said the same thing, twins. But all right, so USA versus Iran. When is this supposed to take place? 5 a.m. On a Monday?
I think
you got to be unemployed to be a diehard soccer fan, yo, or a stay-at-home job. One or the other. You can't be at your job.
On Tuesday, 1 p.m. my time, they'll face Iran.
Dog, do people call out for the World Cup? You got to. Or just be like that. Be at your job, not doing your job, and you can watch anything. Bro, you could just watch the game while being on your phone, and if you drive, that might be the last thing you see. Fuck around. But you got to be employed to watch the World Cup, bro. You can't unless you're gonna DVR it. But that's insane.
A lot of things we've talked about this before, like when Wrestle Kingdom happens. I mean, you and I will be covering it, but we'll be covering it 3 days later after it happens, so we can actually watch the fucking thing.
I might have to stay up all night to watch that shit.
But yeah, no, my whole rant was just like, stop caring about U.S. soccer.
Why? You ain't patriotic?
Not when it comes to U.S. soccer, no. Because they
like
don't.
Hammond?
What? You mean Mia Hamm?
Yeah.
Look at you confusing white women with hair.
I do that all the time. You look like Sigourney Weaver. I'm just saying, bro. Some of them look like they daddy. Most of them.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying like since they don't care, why should I care? That's what it is.
America only cares when America is winning.
No, I'm saying like the people that run U.S. soccer don't care, because if they did, they would hire someone.
Some minorities.
Well, they hired Jurgen Klinsmann in 2013, 2014. He won a World Cup with Germany as a player, and was like, I don't want to say a dictator to these players, but he was basically just calling them soft, because he's like, you guys play in America. We over in Europe, that's where the real soccer is played. That's where you have to be better. And like, it was just very like,
fuck if you playing soccer barefooted in negative weather.
But you're saying like, no, you saying you have to face top talent to succeed. He's like, you can't just be here in America in the lesser league because you want to stay where you're from. He's like, you have to travel and face the top talent in all the different leagues and all the different conditions. Like,
I respect it, but why I want to go overseas when I'm about to get bread here?
Because when the World Cup's in fucking Qatar and it's 100 degrees, you're fucked.
That's better than running around in fucking 50 degrees, even though they all in domes. But still, let's say
no, they're not always in domes.
Oh, some of them that's actually open?
Yeah.
Like out in the open? So what's the coldest to get during the game? And
the U.S. played a game a few years ago where it fucking snowed. I forget who they faced. It was snowing on the field while they were playing. Yeah, they treated like foot. Yeah.
I didn't know. And you still could play?
Yeah, we've seen football games played in the snow. What did Michael Irvin say?
Well, that's a real game. I'm using my hands. But kicking a football in snow sounds like that's difficult.
It's harder to catch the ball when it's snow. That was the whole thing with the Packers and 49ers in the playoffs this year. Dalton, like, no one could fucking catch a pass because it was 20 degrees and it was snowing.
When we played in the cold, it was cold. And by the way, it's nothing you can do. I think they asked Chad Johnson, what do you do with the cold? Did he say he used Viagra? Somebody said they use Viagra.
To get the blood, right? Yeah.
Yeah, to get the blood going. Not just him. They said a couple players use, but they said that doesn't help at all. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Well, I'm going to use Viagra. Dick is hard as hell on football.
Yeah, I was like, unless you do the Raging Bull technique right after. Like,
I haven't seen the movie in a while. Remind me.
Remember, he pours the water on himself before.
It's no tactic when it's cold, unless you.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he pours like the ice cold water, so he won't be erect anymore. Like, so he can maintain the energy, as you would call it.
Hey, dog, that sounds like you putting your body through shock. All right, it's too many.
Basically, that's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, but that's too much up and down, yo. It's like in the military. Like, it's this dude that was in the Navy SEALs. He said they would chewing tobacco. Shouts out to the OG. He do chewing tobacco. He had to survive off that, water, and coffee. That was his diet because they had to stay up. Yeah, they had to stay up during training. And that's why I understand why people go to the military, because it's like, why the fuck am I putting my body through 2 days of no sleep just to get a Camaro?
No, just for any number of reasons. Like, you want to go to college at 28? Okay, like
that's funny. You want to go to college at 28? Write that down.
Come on.
I mean, it's never too late to start.
But still, it's It ain't for me. It ain't for everyone.
Wait. How many people we actually know went to the military?
I mean, Dot, Dre Sr.
His fat ass ain't go to no damn military.
Who are you talking about?
Dot.
Oh, I mean Creek. Sorry, because he has V Dot in his name. I had confused.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Creek. Who else? There might be like 2 other BRP listeners, so I can't recall. But Stray Senior, Creek, I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because all the people I know that was in the military, I can't say what they do. All my cousins went to the military, and
but you know what I mean.
Yeah, most of them have a lot of kids, and then the other ones have a lot of kids, but
because they had to do all that fucking once they came back, like.
Well, yeah. Also, they take out their aggression a different way. I can't say here. So military.
Sign you up.
No. The Marine Corps motherfucker's crazy, as you just said. My man's was in the military.
I want you.
I just couldn't do it, bro. Like,
I couldn't either. I couldn't. Nah.
I don't like getting up before the sun comes up anyway to go get some money.
So now you didn't see. The thing is, I don't like waking up before 5.
Like, dog, I don't like getting up before the sun comes up anyway.
I can do push-ups, but if you yell at me while I'm doing push-ups, then I can't because I'm trying to concentrate while you're yelling at me. So I'm hearing two. You're doing like the whole Kevin Hart. Like, see, I can't do it because I don't like wearing cargo pants and combat boots. Like,
it's 4 a.m., bro. And then if it's cold, I'm gonna be pissed off. It's like it's 4 a.m., yo. I don't like.
Believe me, I had my grandpa was in the Marines, my uncle was in the Marines, and then my cousin, she was somewhat in the Marines. Yeah.
G.I. Jane. You look like you're in the Marines now.
Nah, I don't want to. Yeah, I could bury a family member easily right now, but I'm not gonna do.
Yeah, don't do that here. This ain't even behind the paywall, so you giving it away for free, and I wouldn't let you do that.
Yeah. But
they ever try to recruit you?
Like, well, my dad and grandma were like, even my mom was gonna like, you're never doing that, and I'm like, I don't fucking want to. Like,
smart. It's really like, all right, no disrespect to the people that we name, but I don't see the benefit in it, yo.
Like I said, I mean, the thing is, you gotta survive. This is real morbid. Whoa, like
ain't shit else talking.
Again, just to come back, but no, there is, but I mean. But yeah, it's again, it just ain't for everyone. The people who can do it, I mean, props to them. But yeah, it ain't for everyone.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see the benefit of going over there. First of all, I don't like people being too close to me. You feel me? Like, I don't like you in my face like this. And then if you yelling as well, it's like, all right, bro, get the fuck back, please.
What did I tell you to do today?
Like, no, I still off on you because I don't know if they even got hands. Like, you can't got hands if people intimidated by you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. DJ was in the Navy. The Navy is actually fire though. You actually get some pretty good benefits, and you got to be smart to be in the Navy. The Navy and the Air Force
too. Again, they just don't let everyone in. Is the thing.
Yeah, that's why I like it because the Navy and the Air Force, you got to know math and shit like that. You got to act, and you actually get a good job afterward. Like, I know somebody. I actually take that back. I know somebody that was in the Navy, and I think he works for DirecTV, and he make a lot of money doing that. So. Yeah, those are the two options if y'all go to the military, kids, whoever is listening to this right now, or Generation Alpha.
I couldn't do the Navy because I ain't trying to be on a boat 24/7. Like,
I don't think you always have to be. No,
but for whatever like your tenure is, or whatever time you have to serve on the boat, it's stuff like that. Like, yeah. Like if you're 3 months at sea, like, I ain't getting stuck on this boat. No, it's like I guess no.
I mean, obviously you'll have you can't go anywhere, but you got the Wi-Fi. You need everything that you want. Like, you can work out. You got.
I'm never going on a cruise.
Yeah, I don't like. I don't like
before, I don't trust I don't trust the ocean to go to this. I don't even trust lakes. But yeah, I don't trust the open bodies of water.
No, I don't either.
And it's not because I think Talakan's down there, but I just don't trust it. Like,
hey man, I seen Wakanda Forever. I don't trust the ocean off that. Godzilla, especially Godzilla. Godzilla has petrified me. Like, I've been in the middle of the Pacific, not the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but I've been out in the Pacific Ocean. And then I saw some people go swimming, and I said, "All right, bet y'all on your own."
That's why, like, again, with us being from California, like the whole like, oh, do you surf? I grew up in the fucking Bay Area. I wasn't near the fucking ocean. You think I'm gonna surf? And look at my skin. Do I look like I surf?
No, you don't tan either.
Yeah, that's the thing. I can't. But like, how many black people did you see surfing where you're from?
I think maybe one in my life, maybe one, and he probably was albino. I don't know, but
Oh,
I've seen. Damn, that's a good ass question. Do you see anybody but white people surfing?
in California, you mean? Because I was
Just in
obviously
general.
Hawaii, yeah.
Because on TikTok, it's one guy I saw surfing, but yeah, I think he was Hawaiian or Samoan, Pacific Islander, I should say. But otherwise than that, I don't think I've ever seen. And I'm not knocking it. It just take a certain amount of bravery
No,
to
you
do that
gotta be
shit.
a stupid motherfucker to go surf. Like,
Or you just don't have no level of, fear. Some people just don't have a level of fear. Like I said, the people that just jumped in the middle of the Pacific Ocean when we was on a boat, that takes a large amount of no fear. It could be ignorance, but it could be just I'm not fearful of what's about to happen. Like that metaphor for life. You got to just jump into the ocean of life and hope you don't sink. Maybe that relates to their life. I don't know.
but real quick, let's move on to something else. You had watched the Shaq documentary, part one, as I told you yesterday. What did you think about it? Because we forgot to talk about this when it was announced. Because it's funny, when we were covering Wing Time almost week to week, that's when the trailer for the Magic Johnson documentary dropped. And you and I were both like, ain't this some shit? This man is that upset that he had a. I mean, that documentary is probably already in the works given The Last Dance, that anyone who is anyone had to then start their documentary to control their narrative and portray themselves in a light that they would be fine with. But it was just funny how Magic stock coincided with his portrayal on this show that everyone was talking about. And you had watched that doc and you said it was all right, right?
It was just him saving face.
Yeah. Does he try to? Oh no, yeah. Didn't he try to walk back him not being a bad husband? But then, like, I never wanted my wife at any of the games, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's like you kind of made yourself. You kind of made this look like a shoot, bro. You worked yourself into a shoot.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, all the work you thought you were doing, you basically undid. Like,
yeah, doing your own documentary, basically, you worked yourself into a shoot. Because it's like, it's too coincidental that it came out. Not saying it wasn't in the works, but the fact that it dropped like 3-4 episodes in, or the trailer did, and then the show dropped right before the
I think
end,
it dropped right
time.
at the end of the show. I think the trailer dropped, like I said, probably episode 3, and then I think right as the season was wrapping up the series, because again, I think that was 4 parts as well, and the Shaq thing is 4 parts. And that trailer dropped, I think, a month ago, and we just like skipped over it but I forgot to mention at that time whenever it dropped, I'm like, I was gonna be like, you see this shit? Like,
well, because there's no reason for it. Like I was saying, I watched part 1 last night, and it's like, well, you've been on Drink Champs 2 months ago. That was 3.5 hours. You told your story in the past hour, and it's like Shaq is one of my favorite players ever. But it's like the documentary is good. I mean, the only thing you get is just you get to see his family, like his siblings. You get to see. They probably show his kids, of course, later on. But it's just the same thing we heard before. He's just unfiltered, and I'm like, well, all right, cool.
But I'm like, this guy's always unfiltered. That's the thing.
No, but he was cussing like a motherfucker.
Well, but in a way, like, he'll always speak his mind on inside the NBA. Like, he can't cuss because it's national TV.
Yeah, but in this, he cussing. I didn't even know. And I'm not.
But is that thing to show you I'm serious, and that's why this one's going to be different, because I'm going full rated R because it's HBO and I can actually get away with saying this. And again, it's always that thing, like, people who cuss more are trying to drive the point home about how serious they are. Like, ooh, I'm cussing all the time, right? Like, when I say you're a fucking asshole, you're a fucking asshole. Like, that should mean something, right?
Yeah, that's just nasty, though. You don't need to say that twice.
No, but that seems like, all right, it's like, we get it.
Well,
we get it. Like, we get what you're trying to say. Like,
now I like the fact that, I mean, obviously I don't care about people's personal life like that. I like the fact that they showed his pops because his last name is Tony. That his pops, I forgot his pops' name. His actual pops is James Tony's uncle, the famous boxer, middleweight boxer, legendary boxer. Because I knew that growing up that they was related, but you know, when you see the last name Tony, it's like it's supposed to be Shaquille Tony, and then that'll line him with James Tony. So I don't know how the Michigan ties work out
because
because
his stepfather's last name, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
If I'm not
I
mistaken.
remember that because isn't that why he wanted to get into law enforcement?
Yeah. So his father's or step. Well, he called him his father, so I'll call him his father.
Yeah. That's why I remember. Yeah, that's something that like because the man who raised him is basically what he was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Sergeant Harris. No, I think he took his mom's last name because Sergeant Harris is his pop's last name, and then his two siblings have that, or three siblings have his last name because the sister died 2 years ago, around the same time as Kobe. So, but yeah, so they are Harris. He took his mom's last name, which is O'Neal, but his actual last name is Tony, so it'll be Shaquille Tony. I want to know how, you know, the Michigan ties, like how did his, I mean, of course people migrate, but James Tony family is from Michigan, from Flint, and then they from Newark, Jersey. So I'm like, how did that happen? So that's interesting right there. But no, it was, you know, it's cool. Part one is just telling stuff that we already know.
That's in the after part one. You're like, wait, there's more. Like,
yeah, because I didn't read the description, so I didn't.
No, but I'm saying, but like, we discussed this because when we got together to do the show in 2020, it was 5 months after The Last Dance,
right?
And we all agreed like, there's no way you can top this. Like, this will go down as the greatest documentary that's ever been produced because
sports documentary.
What do you think is a better documentary?
Sports. Another.
Well, I'm saying in terms of like what's a non-sports documentary that you would say is superior, because I think even non-sports this is the best. I mean, I love the Defiant ones, but I'd say this is better than that.
Well, it just depends on what you're interested in. You got yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because, you know, people say, well, the Winston Churchill documentaries and
they made 18 movies about Winston Churchill.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, I got it. I get it. Then you got we got the movie that's coming out next year with Christopher Nolan about the atom bomb. They had documentaries about that.
Yeah.
Then you got documentaries about Vietnam. So it's a broad spectrum.
Yeah, you mean all like those fucking Ken Burns stocks. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's all spectrum for us if we're just talking about, you know, entertainment, because the historical documentaries I don't really get with.
But even then, this is to have footage I was never seen before. Because this was a documentary that they had planned 20 years ago that they scrapped, and then came together to put it together along with new testimonials and the idea to tie in people's backstories to it. Like the way it worked, and sure, people like the timeline is like here, and then it'll come back around here. Like the timeline's insane. They're basically doing Endgame when it's like we have to go to 2012, 2014, and 1970, like to explain what's going on here. But it all ties into the end of the 98 season. But I think that, like I said, inspired many of the great athletes, because that's really what it is. It's all these, you know, top 10 in their profession athletes to then put out their docs. Like I spoke about a few weeks ago when I finally watched Derek Jeter's, is that Derek Jeter felt like he had to tell his story, even though there was probably not much there in terms of like Derek Jeter was a great Yankee, probably the best Yankee of the Generation Y, Generation Z. And like, yeah, he had to deal with, I don't mean this in a negative way, but like he dealt with racism growing up by being biracial, and he was, you know, this superstar crossover guy. Like, you know, he was lucky with the ladies and this and that, and like, you know, he was kind of the modern athlete. But in terms of like him trying to portray himself with that Mamba mentality or that Jordan mentality, like it just didn't hit the same as Michael Jordan literally saying, and we always talk about this, but like if you don't want to play that way, then you don't have to play that way. Or like, you know, when they show him in the locker room, you know, talking about like BJ Armstrong in that Charlotte series or whatever, and like going forward. There was not much like that with Derek Jeter's stock. And Shaq, like you said, since he's constantly in the public spotlight still, what's the point when they did the Orlando Magic documentary about him and Penny and why that partnership failed? And then they do a him and Kobe NBA TV documentary about them finally coming together to go face to face and acknowledge their history together.
But in hindsight, now we know that was needed. That was definitely needed.
Yeah. And I'm not saying like you can't have multiple documentaries, but it's the thing where like The Last Dance, like I said, woke everyone up. Tom Brady had that Man in the Arena where he was trying to do the same thing.
You mind if I interject really quick?
Go ahead.
So me and you talked about it personally. We talked about it off air about how it's certain figures like a Michael Jordan where it works. Me and Dad was talking about Michael Jordan last night, ironically so, because it's been a fucked up year. Knock on wood. That that's not a a curse, so to speak. But you have to have a figure like this in order for be entertaining. Like he's not a good dude. You feel me? Based on stuff that I know, he's not a good dude. And then documentary show,
Ask a Millionaire.
Yeah, and then Horace Grant. I mean, Scottie Pippen. We see now he's terrorizing Scottie now.
Shout out to Joe. Every time that video comes up, I laugh my ass off. Talk shit about my daddy. I'm gonna fuck your wife.
Yeah, nah, Joe was hilarious for that. That was his real, what?
Because every time a new image of them comes out, that I think they share that video. It's amazing.
Because when he said it when we was on air, and he was like, let me.
He said my reel is the week of the week is Marcus Jordan.
And then, all you hear me say is like, okay.
Yeah, and then you're like, let me tell you. He's like, let me tell you why. This man is with Scottie Pippen's wife because he's like, you talk shit about my daddy, I'm gonna fuck your bitch, right? Like,
and we thought it was a rumor up until last week, and come to find out it's true. So,
no, it's been prominent the last few weeks. Like when he had said that, it was like, is this going on? Because they were just seen together. But then after that, it's like, oh no, he ain't hiding it. But also, she's a vengeful woman.
I just want my turn next. Anyhow, I do. I might be too old for her, but no, I'll let you get back to your point. I'm sorry.
No, you got to be the same age as Marcus Jordan.
No, I think he was born. Well, we damn near. I think he was born like 1991 too, somewhere around that.
Because when was that Eric Gordon game? You had to have been in high school still, right?
You talking about the game that he played, him and his brother? That was like 02. Because I think they played LeBron. No,
that had to be like 04, 05. He's 31. Okay, he'll be 30. He'll be 32 this year.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
December 24th.
Oh, 3 days after me. Yeah. The irony. That must suck having your birthday on Christmas Eve. If Michael Jordan.
You ain't getting shit else.
You lucky to get something from Michael Jordan on Christmas, on Christmas. Like if your birthday, Marcus, your birthday is December 24th.
Is Michael Jordan the anti-Santa Claus?
Michael Jordan is the devil Santa Claus. Like he don't have no facial hair. He do got that one little.
He did. He don't anymore. But what was? Do you think that was just him? Like, let me see if I can get away with this shit.
Yeah.
Or is that just how again? Like, is that how much of an asshole he is? Or is like, watch me. Hey, watch this.
Yeah, they bought the same person. Jordan killed people too. He done killed some families, allegedly. That's what I said. The real Last Dance documentary gonna come out after he gone. They gonna call it the last. All right, never mind. I was about to go very bad. The last post, Michael Jordan, 23. It's like, dog, when he out of here, it's a documentary coming, y'all. When Michael Jordan up out of here, I keep saying boy, that's gonna be 5 hours. Let me tell you what he did to me at 89. Like Isaiah Thomas, he doing the gym coordinator.
Isaiah Thomas doesn't want to talk, given how his tenure at the Knicks ended. Like again, the irony of like, if I was Michael Jordan, I'm like, I'm not gonna let this fucking nasty man talk shit about me, given what he's been doing.
You know what?
Michael Jordan could just be the ultimate back. He's short. Like,
Look, Sean, that's what I'm saying. Like, on and off the court, he did anything. Bro, them documentaries gonna come out. Like he's saying with Zeke, though. Yeah, we already know. Do I believe it? Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
I mean, look at him. Because he even just looks like a guy who's evil. Because, yeah, he just has that look.
He always be like no facial hair. He always smiling.
Yeah, and then I was saying that I don't know how I can do a good Zeke. Like,
see, you might be from the West Side of Chicago.
And
that's another thing.
I had the West Side selected, and I asked why. They had said Michael Jordan said you can't be on the team. That hurt my feelings.
Yeah, like he the only person I know from the West Side of Chicago talk.
Me and Magic Johnson, we were tag teaming bitches 3 at a time, right?
I don't think they were tag teaming bitches. Well,
and then after we give each other a little.
Yo, don't ever.
They would do.
Don't ever run.
They would do what Bill Bellamy and LL Cool J were doing in any given Sunday, which is after all that shit in the bathroom, they go and each other on the cheek like, don't do that to me after what we just did. Like,
hey, that's the Thomas brothers, bro. Remember we was 10 and we wet the bed together? Hey,
no, but
and then go ahead and get back to your point. That's what I'm saying. That's what they said it's allegedly over.
Well, he was wrong for picking an older woman anyway. Like,
damn, Juanita older than him?
Yeah, wasn't that the thing?
I didn't know that.
Let me double check. I swear she was.
Because Jordan was about 56 now, 57?
Because I remembered from Bill Simmons, reading Bill Simmons, he'd be like, to him, like, it was always kind of weird, like, Jordan had married an older woman.
Hell no. Why we want to talk about that? Hearts, you want to come on the podcast and talk about that? So you can cut your shoe promo and hurt my ears by yelling?
She's 63 and he's 59.
Oh, that's not that much older.
It's still an older woman. I'm just, any woman older than you is an older woman, is what I'm saying. No matter if it's a year or 6 weeks.
I wonder what age he met her, though. That's what I'm thinking about in my mind.
It probably happened at Carolina, I would assume.
19 or 20-year-old Jordan is the question.
Oh, no, he ain't talking about her when he gets out of college. So it probably maybe would be like, what, second year, third year?
He probably got with her like 86, 87. And that's around the Bulls.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's when that Pistons rivalry that started with the USA team. Him and Zeke was beefing since maybe it started then. Because remember the USA team beat.
Yeah, Hearts, why would I talk about fucking Teddy Hart?
I saw the documentary, but I don't really want to talk about it.
And this ain't a wrestling show like that. We do wrestling content on the Patreon. Like,
well, and he talks about it on the Prominent podcast.
No, it's not even that. Like, we'll talk about wrestling we like. I'm not gonna fucking sit my ass down and watch Teddy Hart. Like,
I did, and I regret it.
Yeah,
but it
you
was
love Teddy Hart as a wrestler.
I was about to say, hell no.
That's like what I had said. Because as soon as I was saying, I'm like, you know what? I should have prefaced this differently when I had said "you people" on BRP, and I'm trying to say "you people" that said Ricky Stark should go to WWE are correct. But as soon as I said "you people," I'm like, oh shit, I should have.
Everybody's like, whoa!
I should have bookended it a little bit better. Like,
Harris, if you want, you come on the podcast and talk about. We'll set something up, but I don't really care to talk about the dude. But
and again, that documentary, and some people were like, why was this man continuing to document him through all this shit? And
she just said it. She said it on Twitter too, Hart. She was like, yeah, I was watching. I'm like, hold on, bro, for 10 years. And then 6 years later, the girl go missing and you just like, let's keep rolling, huh?
Yeah. Like, that ain't a warning sign you that this man did that shit.
Hey, yo, Bret Hart is one of the worst OGs besides Beat Out and
I've been here I go. I've been telling y'all for years that Bret Hart ain't shit. He never been shit, and he'll never be shit.
Math don't shit.
I think Bobby Knight might have worded that a little bit differently, Dot.
What you think he said?
I think you know damn well what he said.
This boy.
No.
Oh, you think he used a hard N?
Oh, I definitely think Bobby Knight is a hard R. Yeah.
Oh no. Hey, listen. And Jordan probably would accept it too.
That's how he could live so long.
That motherfucker still is a lot. He got to be 89.
And just like he said, like his body like de-age right then and there. Like,
Let me see how Bobby Knight look now.
oh no, he's like old and decrepit. I think he's got dementia too, or something, or Alzheimer's, or something like that.
He do. Oh, he only 82. God damn.
Yeah, see, and then he was my mentor, Coach K. You know, Bobby Knight. I learned a lot from Bobby Knight. You know,
He still looked the same.
see. Even then, when we talked about the Dream Team that documentary is horrible. It's
No,
just
what?
like,
I liked it. What was wrong with it?
now I told you. Besides, like the filmmaking of it, where they wanted to go widescreen for the interviews and then come back to the fucking full screen footage because that's when TV cameras were still not in HD. It was poorly created, and the story again was just like how great Kobe was. And I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it's like we already knew that.
That's when people were like, all right, LeBron just be lying. That and the Migos thing, he got his receipt.
Do you want to talk about that like, for a second? Because the jokes have been amazing.
Yeah, I don't even think he understands that it's a joke because he did the same thing on that show. Like, that's what I'm saying. His basketball career over. He got a show on ESPN that came out of nowhere. Once again, ain't a barbershop. How you in a barbershop and the top of your head look like an open Oreo? But he was in the barbershop and Jalen Ramsey was there. You know, that seat probably smelled like rainbow sherbet ice cream. He was sitting there and it just like, dog, and he started doing the whole thing. Yeah, I told him about the playbook, and then Jalen Ramsey was like, "See, this is what they be saying on Twitter about you, that you be lying." It's like he got his receipt from talking about the Migos, and then everybody's like, "All right, enough is enough." I think I don't know if he got CTE or the steroids fucked up.
No, I've
work.
It's just like Dwayne Johnson. When you are at no, it's that thing where like when you are at the top and you only have time for three things: working out, making deals, and your family. You can't pay attention to like all this other side shit. Like you don't have time to watch this or that, to listen to this or that, to read this or that. Like no fucking way is like, again, like they would show LeBron reading the Hunger Games. Like, he ain't reading shit.
No, the Malcolm X one was worse.
No, but then when he was watching like The Godfather like every game between the Warriors and all that, and they're like, "What's your favorite quiz?" Oh, there's just so many to do. I can't think of one at the moment. He doesn't have time to watch a 3-hour movie almost. Yeah, like he can't do it. Just like Dwayne, like, you know, watching this. Thank you. You know, like what happened this week when. Oh, it's so awesome to see Wakanda Forever, you know, do so well at the box office. It warms my heart. Yeah, and Mino was like, fuck.
You know, he upset about that.
He's doing the God damn it. Like
he can't fool me. He upset about that.
And what I tell you again, that man can't top $500 million to save his fucking life because he is the biggest fraud in Hollywood. And for fucking years, you have been buying into this shit. He ain't franchised Viagra. That worked one time for a G.I. Joe movie, and they never made another one with him in it. Yes, he helped boost Fast and Furious, and that's why he has to continue to do those to remain relevant. Because you ain't going out to see fucking Skyscraper. He had to migrate to fucking Netflix to do a movie that would have fucking tanked at the box office and Red Notice. Like, no.
How much has because it's already on streaming, so it's probably done making money. But how much is Black? No. I know what they're gonna do. So in America, it's basically made all this money. It's on streaming services now. But overseas, they're gonna keep running it up so he could say, "Yeah, I got the numbers."
I have the number one movie worldwide, Black Adam. But even then, like Wakanda Forever surpassed him in worldwide.
A weekend, I think in a weekend. Because now, shit, I think they third straight. Like number one movie. Obviously, it's nothing really out.
I was trying to see it the last 2 weeks. I was trying to see it this weekend, last weekend, but I just didn't have the time. We'll probably go and see it Right now, it currently sits at 370.
Domestic.
No, worldwide.
That's it.
Yep, with a budget of 195 to 200.
I mean, they made their money and they lost. They lost a star, but you know.
No, that's Black Adam.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Wakanda Forever because
No,
I'm like Wakanda passed 200 million in one
I'm
weekend.
getting to that right now because Wakanda Forever is
4.
Is 250 budget, 619 box office.
Oh.
And that brings me to the other thing where, like, because this week, and this is the argument that you and I have been having, well, not argument, this discussion that you and I have been having for the entirety of the show, which is movies in theaters, who are movie stars, who aren't, because Quentin Tarantino had to throw his hat into the fucking ring to be like, Chris Evans isn't a movie star, which is like, no fucking shit. And as much as I love Quentin Tarantino, like, you're not saying anything new, pal. We all know Captain America is the star. That's the argument. That's why something like The Gray Man had to go to Netflix, because that movie wouldn't have opened well with him and Ryan Gosling at the box office. And it's not that neither of them are movie stars. They're just not movie stars box office wise. In this era, movie stars are people who are in prominent films and who have multiple stan accounts on Twitter. That's who movie stars are these days. The only true movie star that exists is the guy who fucking said, my movie's not going to theater, to streaming. It's going to theaters, goddammit, and watch me be right. And he was right. But that's because he has the power of Zion or whatever behind him. Like, it's Zion. But it's true, because even people like Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, legendary actors and draws in the past have had to migrate to streaming as well. Fucking the number one movie in the world is Wakanda Forever, and the number one movie to people in terms of like, wow, this is a great movie in this last week is Knives Out. Well, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. And the argument about that is like, man, it's a shame that this movie's only playing in theaters for a week right now, and then we have to wait a whole month to watch it on Netflix. Like, and it did well at the box office. Like, I think it was it'll be third this weekend or whatever like that. And like, what a testament to like how a movie like this can do so well at the box office, given how Wakanda Forever is going to be on a roll and all that. Like, the first Knives Out was a budget of 40 million and made over 300 million. That's the most impressive stat in the last 8 years in Hollywood. A $40 million movie making $300 million, like, with, sure, it's got an ensemble cast of, guess what? Chris Evans, because he's a movie star he's Captain America. I'll go Stephen Weason, and Mr. I'm not doing another James Bond movie unless you pay me $100 million, Daniel Craig, with top billing, but it's got Keith Stanfield. They had Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, people you recognize were all in this movie, and it looked good. The trailers made it like, man, this looks like an entertaining movie. And Rian Johnson had to sell the fuck out. This movie didn't have to go to Netflix. He took their $400 million for 2 sequels, just so people would be like, oh, isn't it amazing how this man is taking Netflix money to make fun of the rich? Because that's apparently what Knives Out 2 is his commentary on tech bros and the rich and how awful they are. Like, he's taking their money and laughing in their faces. Like, no, he's their puppet, because Netflix is like, guess what? We'll pay you $400 million. We don't care, because we want the IP. This movie will live on here, and sure, you can poke fun at us and all the people in our field, but you're just a puppet in this fucking game. That's all it is. Because we'll give you your 1 week in theaters, but you're still the sellout, because that's what it is. Like, all great artists, they'll sell out to put their art on.
All right, so me and somebody else ironically had a discussion about this yesterday afternoon. Same as me and you been having this discussion. So Anthony Mackie, I think around the same time, said the same thing as that bastard Quentin Tarantino. Both, and this is Anthony Mackie now. I don't know how the Disney execs are going to feel about this, but it's Anthony Mackie. He kind of don't give a damn about what he say. So he said the same thing. He said people come to the movies to see the characters. You got Dave Bautista in Knives Out too. Dave Bautista is in Guardians of the Galaxy. They just came out with a holiday movie. The irony, right? It's all perfect timing. So they come to see the characters or the people that played the characters because there's Drax the Destroyer, there's Captain America, like Davis just said.
Ed Norton's in Knives Out, as we discussed last year when this movie was announced. Who isn't in Knives Out 2? They had Ed Norton, Catherine Hahn, who's in a lot of Adam McKay movies, and it was in WandaVision. They brought in beautiful Janelle Monáe, Jessica Henwick, Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton. Like, he is, again, stacking the cast to be like, Kate Hudson, I want to see this movie because it's got all these people I like in it, or two people I like in this movie. I'll go see it. What's it about? Oh, it's a mystery film. Ooh, what's going to be the twist? Who did it? Because of the people's fascination with true crime. Like, this movie writes itself to make money. You and I often talk about trailers are like, that isn't going to fucking make money in like a negative sense. And like, damn, I wish that would, because something like The Woman King did well, but you and I would be like, that movie might not make money because it looks well made, but like, you never know. Movies like that fail, and it's like, damn, if only that could have gotten a chance. But that was one that proved the doubters wrong.
And that was a good movie too.
Mm-hmm. And something like Bullet Train, where you're like, maybe 7-8 years ago, that movie would have been a big fucking deal. Yeah. And it still was a big deal in a way. It surpassed expectations because people like Brad Pitt. They like Brian Tyree Henry, and everyone like, what you saw that movie for a number of reasons. It's an action comedy. Nothing else is playing. Like,
but you see, they had to put Bad Bunny in it.
That's what Ryan Johnson's doing with this. I'll go get someone from that quadrant, this quadrant, over here to make sure I hit everything Universal. And that's what Marvel has been doing the whole time. It has the IP of comics that were created 70 years ago and now are finally being put on screen. The whole argument of Tarantino, like, oh, like they're just, comic books and this and that, lack of originality. How many times do you want Shakespeare portrayed? You and I loved Denzel's tragedy of Macbeth. It was brilliant. His acting, the black and white, the filmmaking by just the one Coen brother. It was a beautiful film. But what version of Macbeth was that on the main screen? Right? Versus right. How many Captain America films have we had compared to Macbeth films?
Yeah, so what I'm about to say goes along with everything that you're saying, and like I said, the conversation I had yesterday with somebody. So Bad Bunny, you get these people, Janelle Monáe, you get people that come from different realms. Dave Bautista, obviously, he's an actor now. And he's probably known more as an actor than the animal Dave Bautista from WWE. The reason is relating to Anthony Mackie, Quentin Tarantino. You got to have people from different properties, from different aspects of entertainment, because at the end of the day, there's no more draws. Like you just said, Tragedy of Macbeth has Denzel. I don't think Denzel is the draw anymore. I don't think Brad Pitt is the draw anymore. It's the reason why Vin put Cardi B in the last Fast and the Furious.
No. That's something. That's his
friendships type stuff. But
no. That's what we're saying, but in his own selfish way to boost him again. That's like Romeo Santos was in Furious 7 for those 2 minutes, or why Iggy Azalea was in Furious 7 for those 2 minutes. That's him trying to stay relevant in that argument that like he created XXX. The Return of Xander Cage with like Ruby Rose. Everyone talked about her when she was on Orange is the New Black, the woman that looks like Justin Bieber and all that. And then he went and got Donnie Yen, huge martial arts star. Tony Jaa, huge martial arts star. He got the Hound from Game of Thrones. He got Chris Wu, who's like a superstar in China for doing 18 different things. That's his style of filmmaking. That's why that movie getting middled at the box office. And The Rock tries to do the same thing. Black Adam tries to do Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Superman, right? In terms of like, Atom Smasher is the guy who can go big and small. Dr. Fate is the equivalent of Doctor Strange or like the magic and spellcasting. Like instead of like skipping over step by step, it's like I'm going to incorporate all these different elements into my superhero film that are from over there and over there, so I can compete on the same scale when I'm not.
That's true, but DC and Marvel, they have the same characters.
Oh, and I'm not saying from that. I'm just saying like his element of like why this movie will be bigger for this little known characters, because I'm going to have all these elements that people like from those films.
Because he's not a draw anymore.
It's not just that. It's that the character wasn't a draw in terms of like notoriety. Like how well do people know Black Adam?
But still, let's say who's prominent right now? People in the chat as well. Who's big right now? Who's popular? All right, Bad Bunny, The Weeknd. Those are the only two people I could think of that are draws in entertainment. That's why I put this banner right there and I titled it, because the conversation I had was there's not a lot of big draws anymore in entertainment, overall. It started out me talking about WWE or wrestling in general. It's only three to four draws as far as like outside of entertainment, not just in wrestling. Bianca Belair, Roman Reigns, Jade Cargill, and I feel like it's one more person that brings eyes to pro wrestling. So it's not a lot of draws in pro wrestling. I feel that's the same way with the movie industry and what Quentin Tarantino and Anthony Mackie were saying, because people come to see these characters instead. Like he, of course, is like these other old freaky ass nasty heads that keep saying, oh, well, the comic book industry, this has done this to the industry, which is true. But at the same time, it's not any new talent. And then with this new talent, it's just like with professional wrestling, it's depending on how they book to get the eyes on them. So in movies, there's not a lot of big draws anymore, because the people that watch Brad Pitt are like his age now. They like grandparents, and they like, I'll go watch the movie. But when it come on digital within a month, like Bullet Train did, I'd rather watch it that way or then watch it online. Same thing with Macbeth, and Denzel understands that. That's why, other than Equalizer, he's doing stage plays now, because he knows the stage is always going to have people come see him.
When he's into the job of acting anyway.
Yeah, like Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is in a movie.
Well, Samuel Jackson is the working actor in terms of like, if it's a check to be in a movie, I'll be in it. Whereas I'm saying like Denzel will still do a play because he is the actor first. The movie star second.
Yeah, and he knows as well it's not the same as it once was. Hell, 10 years ago. Yeah. The pandemic changed everything as far as entertainment, not just how we view it, but how we view the people. Like with the music industry since the pandemic has been shit. It ain't a lot of big draws, and then all the draws are dying. That's just a matter of fact. A lot of draws are dying, or a lot of the draws are getting older. Like I use Cardi B as an example right now, but I did yesterday with somebody, and I told her, hey, she told me actually that Cardi B is not trying to do drill music anymore, like how she was doing when she first came out. And I understand that. Number one, you have
to switch your sound to survive.
Yeah, number one,
this
she's
is what
30
we talked
years old
about
now.
With her loss and Honestly Nevermind. It's like, or I said like Drake's an actor. He's not a musician. He's a guy who's playing the role of Drake doing house music, or Drake doing fuck these bitches after I've been crying over them. Like it switches like that to remain relevant, like to fight for your survival in this modern age. And the pandemic didn't think so. The pandemic killed smaller movies even more than the superhero movies did. And it's not that there wasn't any draws, it just showed like we have to rebuild the box office, so we can't take a chance on a small movie and hope it does well, like A Woman King or an Everything Everywhere All at Once. And in a way, Matt, maybe that's why Rian Johnson panicked and sold the Knives Out rights to Netflix. Of like, I want to make 2 more of these movies, but who knows if the studios will want to, given how they're going to have to rebuild their fucking capital with theaters being shut down for a year and a half. I'll go to the streamer and say, hey, can you work out a deal where this plays in the theater for a week? Like, that's what I mean. Like, you are the antithesis of what you're fighting for. To keep theaters alive, you are keeping them alive temporarily, when one guy said this movie's been finished for a year, and now it's been finished for a second year, and it'll be finished for 2.5 years, and it'll still not play until all these theaters are worldwide. And then I'll do a PSA like a maniac and be like, thank you and you're welcome, because I saved this theater so you can see this movie, and I saved that theater and that one. Like,
Well, and like you just said, so talking about that Madman with Tom Cruise being a draw, I think it's just the timing.
because we got to grow up watching Seven and Ocean's 11, and then
but how many of us actually care at our age who are now parents and don't have time to go to the movie theaters? That's what it goes back to.
no, one of the appeals of Bullet Train was Brad Pitt doing action, like something he very seldom does. Again, I mean, like he did it in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but that was in 2005. Like,
not to cut you off, but it's now 30, 40 years into the industry, Brad Pitt, and we seen him, like you just said, do Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
That was his Taken, except funny. Like,
yeah, but who wants to see him? Even the older people, who wants to see him funny? That's never been. That's his thing.
They do, because he's they want to see him because he's the guy in Ocean's 11 eating all the time. Yeah,
I understand, because Burn After Reading was funny.
Yeah.
He's done funny movies, but at this point right now, do you want to see him funny?
Mm-hmm.
Because
you always want to see Brad Pitt, and that's why Once Upon a Time in Hollywood did so well, because it was him and DiCaprio in the same movie in multiple scenes together. But what was the selling point of that movie at the end of the day? Quentin Tarantino, like what Quentin's failing to recognize is he's the draw for his own films.
Yeah, but
like,
maybe that's just in his mind that there's no.
He's
superstars.
mad that he's mad that there's no superstars or him to direct. Where it's like,
or him to call a nigga.
But that's what's funny about the Hateful Eight is like Channing Tatum's in the Hateful Eight, and like if you're someone like Quentin Tarantino, like you should make Channing Tatum. Steven Soderbergh did that. He saw Channing, like this guy's funny. He's a decent actor. He can do action. He can do drama. He's an alright, but like he's funny at the end of the day. And like, yeah, he's super handsome. I'm gonna use this guy like clay and mold him into my like image of like what this guy should be. And that's what he did with Magic Mike. And again, that movie was like 20 million, made almost 200 million. And again, Steven Soderbergh is our guy, but like he knew, like, sure, it's male strippers, but like, no, like this guy has something to him and I'll know how to use him like a system QB. Like I'll get the most out of this guy who you're saying is a star, but like the box office has shown he's not.
Well, the thing is too, you got to start with the bookers. The bookers aren't looking for new people to mold into these superstars anymore. Like they're trying to do with what's your man's name? Timothy
Chalamet.
Yeah, so they trying to do it with him.
He is a draw in the sense of like,
yeah,
like I'm saying that modern draw is Stan accounts, are the people who would dedicate Twitter accounts and Instagram pages and YouTube videos to what this guy wears and his hair and these roles and this, and like that is the draw in that sense. It's not the box office. That's where we're like, quit trying to fight to keep theaters alive.
It's the people.
Your theater's at home now. That's what it is.
It's that, and it's the people. The people determine what John Cena said. He's talking to Roman Reigns. Listen to them. I don't know if you're dumb or stupid. You listen to the people.
You're dumb, stupid, or both.
Right. They determine. So that's why he's a draw now.
And you're saying Tom Cruise is, I'm here because you can't do your job. You saying that to Timmy Chalamet?
That's what it is. Like when Sean Roberts said he could draw, he got to be.
I will say, because that movie just looks terrifying. That Bones and All movie that he's in, that the cannibal movie that Timothy Chalamet, it just looks terrifying. Like that probably won't make money because it's about fucking cannibalism and it looks fucking gross as fuck.
It will, because you know why? This is what I'm saying, far as where we are as, and this ain't Third Eye Banks, this ain't Preaching Banks, but this is where we are as society. When I talked about, I'm not gonna name the person that passed away recently, not last week, but a rapper. It's just where we at right now. When you listen to the music, not just rap music, by the way, people, because rock music was wilding out way before that. All right, people was dying at concerts, getting stomped out, innocent kids and all that. But where we are right now as a society is you open to seeing this shit. Like, what's that clown movie that just came out during Halloween? That drew people.
Terrifier 2 or something like that.
Yeah, the one people saying was like passing out and all that shit.
Yeah, I think it's this movie called Terrifier 2, something like that.
And they gave you a warning. It's grotesque. They gave you a warning, and people still want to go see it. We are dehumanized now as a people. So
But
Bones
we
and all
talked
probably
about.
gonna make money.
I think it's different with the because there's always the argument of people who like horror movies will watch any horror movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if let's say your person in it, whoever your person may be, I don't know, like use any type of entertainment. Let's say a Jay White was in Bones and all right. And I
But this
love
is
Jay
the
White.
argument of like the Gray Man. Like they made this. That's what I was saying the whole time, and it's funny that the podcast I listened to um, said the same thing. Like I feel like this movie was tailor made for me. It has Ryan Gosling in it. It's got Chris Evans playing the bad guy, which is a turn from him. It's an action movie about CIA operatives who like don't exist, quote unquote. And it's directed by the guys who made Winter Soldier, Civil War, and Infinity War, and Endgame. Like this movie sounds fucking tailor made for me, and it's like at best, it's like it's good, not great. It has good moments, it has bad moments, and you expect more from it because you set your expectations so high when something is tailor made toward you, which is why I am critical more on AEW than I am WWE, because AEW is geared toward what I want as someone who liked PWG and then liked when I watched ROH, or when I was into New Japan, I was enjoying what I was watching. And now they're trying to bring all that together on a national platform. And more often than not, they are failing to meet those expectations of, well, if you're saying that you want to do Reseda in Chicago with New Japan talent and the ROH stars of 2 years ago, where is that? Or why is it like half-hearted? Or why does it hit and miss?
It's the bookers. It's everything in entertainment right now. It's like either you got the old people that still want to go with the old people in Hollywood, or it's the music industry. There's no A&Rs. It's TikTok, which is the biggest record label on the planet, people. Hear me now, believe me later. That determine what's popping and what's not, as the kids say. It's the people that determines that. But then it's like the entertainment industry as a whole. You build people up just to bring them down. And then it's like next man up. So when Quentin says that, it's like, dude, you and them nasty motherfuckers that's in Hollywood determine who y'all book. It's not us. Now, they're going to listen to the fans for the most part, going back to that Timothy kid, going back to Zendaya. But damn, it's only so many roles for other people because they taking all of them. Not hating. It's just where we are in the entertainment industry. If you want to use music, it's an open slot for everybody. But it's the point that unless I do a little dance or do something like that to get popping on TikTok, nobody hear me. That's why I'm making this single. Like people want albums. Nobody wants albums anymore. They just want a single. The single is the new album. So I can get on the playlist. I can get on TikTok. I only make money from merchandise and I only make money from performing. So with the music, I mean, the movie industry, it's the same system has been since the 1900s. If I don't have an agent that's willing to book me, and I still have to do all these insane amount of auditions, but they still go with somebody that's known, what's the point of it? We in a time right now where it's inflation. Ain't nobody got money for headshots. Ain't nobody got money to pack up and go to LA. And I wouldn't recommend that shit anyway. Go to Atlanta or New York if you want to try that. Nobody has money to invest in anymore. So it's going to be less stars. I don't think maybe his way of booking, and it's always been with him and his nasty ass friends, is to do the casting couch. At that point, that's going to dry up as well because of the Me Too movement and because nobody wants to do that shit no more. And then number 3, nobody has money once again to go to LA to go on the fucking couch. So you losing out right now on having new stars and new draws because nobody is doing original content anymore because they can't afford to write this shit. The SAG for writers, I forgot the name. SAG Guild for writers, I forgot. But anyhow.
No, the Writers Guild.
The Writers Guild, thank you.
Yeah, WGA.
So, you don't have stars coming up. You don't have new writers. You don't have new directors coming up because it's fucking hard to make it because the gatekeepers, and I just can't afford to do this shit right now because gas is $7 a gallon in LA.
And when it comes to him, you're saying the cast couch more so with him. It's the guys who were in again, these B movie films or underseen films that they're like, oh, this guy's a huge star to me in this underseen movie that no one cared about or underperformed or tanked at the box office. It's like Robert Forster and Jackie Brown. Like the first time I know him is from like Mike when he's the coach. Right. But then when I see Jackie Brown, I'm like, oh, that guy. But to Quentin Tarantino's like, you don't know Robert Forster from these 10 things that were in the 60s and the 70s and all that. Like this guy should have been a huge star, but he wasn't. And that's why again, like he had to fight for Travolta in a way, not so fight, but like I want John Travolta to be in Pulp Fiction, even though his star is faded. I want Bruce Willis to be in Pulp Fiction because his star is faded. Because to me, John Travolta's a huge star from Blowout and Saturday Night Fever and Bruce Willis. I mean, again, the guy who fucking Die Hard and all like those, like, and I can do something with him. Like, you're crying. Like I said, it's the right just you're crying one way to be the other way. It's like I can think of like the first really true movie star I'd say to like that led a Quentin Tarantino film is Brad Pitt in Inglourious Basterds, because I guess you can say Uma Thurman and Kill Bill, but he made Uma Thurman. Like she had some acting roles before, but like she takes off with Pulp Fiction and then is able to be Poison Ivy and Batman and Robin. And then her Quentin Tarantino create Kill Bill together in terms of the character, the bride, and spawn that. And like that's able to get Uma Thurman a few other star roles going forward. But like Brad Pitt was like the first movie star like to lead a Quentin Tarantino film, because Samuel Jackson's a guy from Spike Lee films, or he's in Goodfellas for a couple of minutes, and he's in Coming to America as the guy who's going to rob McDowell's. It's that thing like you're saying there are no stars, but like you either helped create stars or the people that were stars to you weren't stars to everyone else. And the argument that Simu Liu, the star of Shang-Chi, was trying to say, like, you know, I couldn't lead a film because like the lack of like big time Asian movie stars in the last couple of years. And he was right in that argument, and he's wrong in a lot of other senses. That again, like while people were saying like the IP of Shang-Chi was a star, he's still the top billed guy in that movie. And again, all the movie nerds and can say, well, the real draws were Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Everything All at Once, and Tony Leung from all the films he did in Hong Kong with Wong Kar-wai. But like, no, MCU's trying to make this guy a big deal, and that's why he was able to go out and get a part in the Barbie movie, and then we'll see what he does next. But everyone who's picking on him is not wrong to say like this guy did nothing before. He was on a TV show in Canada and hasn't done anything since Shang-Chi, because he's not a movie star. He was just this guy picked to lead this MCU movie in hopes of turning him into a star. And that's where the criticism of him needs to come in. Not all the incel shit that he had said on Twitter that came to light last year when Shang-Chi was coming out. People were trying to bury him before he came up. Like he's said some stupid stuff, but he's a guy who kind of seems spacey. Like he seems like you would say out to lunch or out of their fucking marbles. He might not be the brightest guy in the room, but I respectfully trying to say like there is the lack of Asian representation in terms of leading a movie, and that's what Crazy Rich Asians was such a big deal with Constance Wu trying to say that, and then Henry Golding was saying like, I'm still getting picked on because while I am Asian, I was born and raised in England or whatever, like raised in England. He has an English accent. It's tough. Again, like the movie stars today, or movie stars is what we're trying to say, is like the movie. See, I think Quentin's trying to say the story is what should be the draw. But,
and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
It kind of never really did work like that.
It did. It did when we had Die Hard and then we got Speed. Because what was the point of Speed? It's Die Hard on the bus.
Yeah, but it's Bruce Willis and then you got Keanu Reeves. Like Keanu Reeves wasn't a huge name, but people still knew Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure. It's like, that's a dude.
It's this guy trying to make himself a movie star by being in a Die Hard type movie. And then they did Die Hard on a Plane with like Air Force One. Or I guess you could try maybe say Passenger 57. But again, that's Harrison Ford, the guy who never wanted to be a movie star.
But he played Han Solo, so it's like, damn, they're going Han Solo. So
he's Indiana Jones. like
So at the end of the day, I'm gonna say it here. Quentin's full of shit. It's all that cocaine and him write nigga 20 times. I hope I don't get flagged for that. But him saying that 20 different times in the script and cocaine has his mind colluded. It's like, dude, it's always been about the star. Same thing with pro wrestling. Everybody here, shouts out to Sean Roberts, Ken Lewis, B. Dot, Hearts, everybody else that's watching. Thank you for being here, DJ. It's the same thing with pro wrestling. All of us watch pro wrestling. The fans determine who the star. Once again, I said it earlier. The person that's in front of the screen is going to be a star if he's supposed to be a star. There's superstars and there's a star. You know who's the last star in movies? Who was supposed to be the it guy? Chadwick Boseman. He ain't here no more. He was supposed to be the next one. He was the biggest star. No, he was going to be it. He played before he passed away.
Because that 21 Bridges movie did okay.
But it wasn't. It's the script. It wasn't him. He did a good job. And that's
but the movie star's supposed to elevate the story. That's what I'm saying. Or Quentin Tarantino trying to say like.
But okay, not to cut you off, brother. Hold on. So, Will Smith was a draw, right? Will Smith is by far one of the top 5 biggest draws in movie history. The Wild Wild West was a bad script, an overall idea, right?
Mm-hmm. But that came from IP.
Still,
it was a 60s, 70s TV show,
and it was remixed. Okay, so let's go back, even though it was gonna fail anyway.
No, after he becomes a superstar from being this rapper to TV star, he's gonna jump to movies of Independence Day. That becomes the biggest movie, one of the biggest movies of the year.
When Fresh Prince came out.
No, that's what I'm saying. But like, I'm gonna do it on the biggest platform, which is movies. That's where you can make money, like, and that's where you can be known worldwide. Because this movie can play in China, like they might not get Fresh Prince in China, or they might not get Fresh Prince in Belgium.
I think they do now.
Well, now, but I'm saying in the 90s when this is going on, like, you know, like reruns, like there's the joke in Euro Trip where like we just got Knight Rider, like there's playing like in Russia, like a 20-year-old show is now available in Russia. Like that's how it works. That's how it used to work. But
it still does.
But after Independence Day, I think he looked at the highest grossing films and took the elements of like, what do they all have in common? It's science fiction with elements of romance and comedy. And I think he's like, not like 7 out of 10 were science fiction. It's like, I'm going to stick to this, which is why we got Men in Black, which is why we got Wild Wild West, iRobot. I mean, something like Enemy of the State is him working with a director like Tony Scott more than but like the story and the cast of like Gene Hackman, a legend on the screen, and John Voight and all these other up and coming actors. It's something like that, but because he did Independence Day, Men in Black, and Wild Wild West, even though that tanked a little bit more so than Men in Black did, but it was still the IP. Like Will Smith is now the biggest star, and then he's like now. To the point where like I'm feeling myself. I think I can play Muhammad Ali and do an all right job, like because I'm now known as Will Smith, and this is Will Smith doing Muhammad Ali. It's Chadwick Boseman did the reverse. I'm gonna play Jackie Robinson, then I'm gonna play James Brown, and Thurgood Marshall. Yeah, is before Black Panther, but it's after Civil War. So it's like. This guy again, like this guy's up and coming. Like he'll now be, hopefully, the next guy to take over. And that's why after Black Panther, he does 21 Bridges. Like, so if he just does like crime movies like this, and then serious movies like Thurgood Marshall, I think he was supposed to play that first ever Black Samurai. Yeah. That movie had been like in the works for years, but unfortunately, it won't be happening. But like he was gonna do stuff like that, his serious stuff, come back, do MCU stuff, and then do something like what Denzel does, the one for me, one for them, where like I like doing, like you said, Equalizer 2. I like doing Men on Fire. I like doing fucking Two Guns. Well, you know, those, you know, cheap kind of in a way where like, let's just get this action film out because we have a movie star in it and it might be passable, it might not, but you know what? He'll sell it because it's him.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So 21 Bridges did what it was supposed to do, but then everybody has their failure. But when you keep jumping back and
it's not really a failure. It's just like to expect that movie to do so much just because he was. That's the thing. It's like when you're like the next movie that seemingly leads, is that on him if it does poorly? Like, let's say they cast him again for like his own cop movie, like the star of Shang-Chi. Like, let's say like his next movie is 21 Bridges-esque, or like he's like a drone pilot or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he does something that is in that vein of like, let's see if this guy can lead a movie on his own with him at the star at the top, and there's no MCU around. And if it does well, then again, this guy's not a movie star. He's just in the MCU playing a key role. It's that thing where like when you leave, if Jordan Poole left the Warriors, would he be the star player on another team?
If it's the Magic, yeah.
But is that because they need guys to put up shots?
Yeah.
Like, they need, yeah.
So, and it's always about your system because they got a horrible system. But with the actor from Shang-Chi, if he decided to be, like you said, in the cop movies don't draw anymore because in the past 2 years, more so my entire life has been fuck the police. Now, more than ever, people are like, why do I want to see him play the police? I'm just going off the example you said.
No. See, do you actually subscribe? That might be another episode in itself, to be honest. We might have to table that.
Mm-hmm. About
cop movies. Yeah. We'll do that for the Patreon because that in itself, I see that argument should work, but it doesn't, because a lot of the key points is what I've said in the past is like a movie star wants to do the cop movie so he can get in crazy shape, strap on the bulletproof vest, and like do the fucking tactical training where he's running which is why Michael B. Jordan will do something like Falcon Morris, what we talked about a few weeks ago with Van and Eve. Like, he's someone who's trying to do that thing. Like, is Michael B. Jordan a movie star? Given he was in Black Panther, he's a star of Creed. Why not?
Because other than, which is of course the fan base I wish I had, he just has the women. Even now,
okay,
yeah, that's they the ones with the money.
But that's saying like that's being a star in its own right. That's why Jonathan Majors should be next. What we've been saying.
Because even him, I'm questioning it. I'm like, he got a lot of roles coming out, but
he has that movie right now, that Devotion movie, where he's the first ever black air pilot.
But they do that so often that it's like, well, I don't care about him being a black pilot because he has a white pilot, and even though that's part of the history, people are biased about.
But I just brought up Chadwick being Jackie Robinson, and I know Jackie Robinson and James Brown are two bigger historical figures than the first black pilot, which is unfortunate. Just that's how history works in a way. I'm not saying that he doesn't matter, but it's just how like that's why that movie's being made now, because it's an undertold story. Yeah. In terms of like, how like Black Wall Street was with Watchmen, in terms of like Tulsa and how this existed and no one knew about it because it was wiped off the face of the earth. But again, like James Brown and Jack Robinson being two of the most iconic figures to this day is why Chadwick Boseman playing them mattered. But that's why I think why Jonathan Majors is doing this, not just to tell this story, but like he'll be able to look back and say, I was in a Spike Lee film that's pretty good, Into Five Bloods. He was in this indie movie before that called The Last Black Man in San Francisco. I just haven't seen that film yet. But it's supposed to be really good. I'm in the MCU now as Kang, this again guy who's gonna fuck shit up for the next 6 years. I'm in Creed 3 opposite one of the other black movie stars that we can say, I think he is a movie star in the context of relevancy. His name, his movies will do all right, but I know what you mean. He isn't Will Smith level. He's a tier or two below that.
But nobody is, because you know why?
That's the argument we're trying to say.
Going back to No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, the argument is no one can get to Will Smith, Tom Cruise, and even the 80s, Schwarzenegger, Stallone. Those levels don't exist anymore. They've been wiped off the face of the earth. Tom Cruise really is the last movie star with something like this, but even then, he has to resort to going back to do 2 Mission Impossible films, and then maybe end this fucking space movie with Elon Musk, which is him trying to do
nothing.
No, because everything that isn't in the last 15 years from has hit and miss. Like Edge of Tomorrow, great movie that underperformed at the box office, and to this day, people are like, we slept on this movie. We all did. And why did we sleep on it? it looked all right, and or like you're bringing the argument of like cop movies and why I don't want to go see cop movies given what the police do in real life is like I don't like Tom Cruise as a person. I don't want to go see him in this movie. But if it's Top Gun, yeah, because I love Top Gun and I want to see the sequel to Top Gun, I'll go see that movie from him instead of this one, even if this one's really good.
Also, too, going back to what I said about social media earlier, you know why there's no superstars anymore? You go turn on your social media, go on fucking Twitter, go on especially TikTok. There's people with millions of hits. Does that equate to money? No. In some form it does, but nobody's making money from entertainment like that anymore. But when you go on your TikTok, you see somebody doing a dance, they got 20 million likes or 20 million views. You go to the next person, same thing. If you go on Twitter, somebody got 190K likes. Stars are born every day.
And that's why they try to make those people movie stars.
That's what they should do. It's smart booking.
No, they like that woman. What's her name? She did the He's All That, like the reboot of She's All That, but it's about a dude that isn't the woman in that a TikTok star or something like that, I think. That's what they've tried to do. It's or like I'll put a streamer in my movie, like what they try to do with Free Guy.
But
like,
people mindset is so short that they don't, oh, that's the girl from TikTok, cool. I'm not gonna watch the movie, but that's cool. Like I just want to see you tap dance on TikTok.
That's what Hollywood doesn't understand is they think that we'll want to see that on the movie screen. Like, no, I just want to see it here. I don't want to see it there.
And then like the Fresh Prince show, I love it. But
you're not going to see the next Coco Jones movie?
Depending on what the movie is.
A reboot of The Players Club?
Oh, no. Let's go sign up right now. I get up on my seat right now. Well, I ain't going to get up on my seat but no. Whatever movie. She be in The Color Purple. I'm watching that motherfucker.
Okay.
But no, it's just like with that show and Insecure, hit shows, but people just want to talk about on their social media to be the star. I go on social media and I talk about Lawrence, so I go on there and talk about Issa. I go on there and talk about whoop-de whoop whoop whoop, Will whoop-de whoop whoop. Carlton doing Viking and breaking that shit down like he Jesse from Breaking Bad. Cool. I go on there. It's a possibility if I say a little joke because everybody want to be hee ha ha on fucking social media all day instead of doing it on wax. Thank y'all for being here. Like and subscribe. New listeners. People rather go on their social media and if they say the right joke, they get hundreds of thousands of looks. They're now the star, probably over the person that they was talking about because they made a hee ha ha.
Well, that's the argument. Something like Insecure, which is a hit show for HBO Max in the context of like it killed it on social media because it's a rare portrayal of Black people on a prominent network, right? Like it doesn't have to do with like drugs and crime or slavery. It's like modern Black people in modern LA, right? Yeah. And that's what people want. That's why like when Will Smith has to do the slavery movie coming out in a few weeks, it's like, why? Like, again, it's that's like there are stories we don't need told anymore.
Apparently this one is about him being in a war or something, I think. I don't think he just yeah, I understand what you mean, but it's like I got to cut you off on this one. My fault. So with this one, first of all, going back to social media. All right. So with this one, somebody said recently, I think after the slap happened, that now he has to shuck and jive and do the slave movie. I'm gonna save face for him here. Pause. He talked about that. He talked about doing this movie years ago before the slap was even thought of, or maybe it was thought of then. Third eye is open. But they talked about this movie years ago. All right. So maybe he's just doing a favor for Hollywood because he doesn't have to do it like Davis was just saying. At this point, it's Will Smith. Will Smith could disappear, God forbid, off the face of the planet right now, and it'll still be Will Smith. The slave movie, maybe he's just doing that to challenge himself, or he has to do the little Hollywood favor, like, no, you got to go ahead and play a slave. Or maybe
it was announced before King Richard.
That's what I just said.
Not in terms of King Richard being made, but like before King Richard was in like the Oscar race, this movie had been announced.
Yeah, that's what I was telling people because I remember they talked about this movie. I want to say 2016,
Yeah.
17. So
it might have been right as COVID was happening, or right before, because this was he was doing his whole weird thing of like trying to be a social media star to remain relevant.
but the thing is, too, like I said, some dumbass said that he doing this movie because the white people got him doing it because he slapped Chris Rock. And I try to save face to say, no, they announced this years ago. And then I said, maybe my third eye is open right now, but maybe this was like planned years ago. Hollywood planned this slap years ago. Long-term booking.
I don't know if you want to go there. I don't know if you want to go that far, but
no, because I respect Booker T.
The person saying that isn't wrong to say that because it looks funny, right? Of what his next movie is post this incident, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just like the way the world works. So
yeah.
It'd be the irony, like again, another person who spoke on the MCU, like all they make is superhero films, and like that's the problem is Jennifer Lopez. Meanwhile, and then everyone had the jokes like, well, Jennifer Lopez just plays a white woman, so the fuck she talking about? Like she ain't even portraying herself on screen in who she is. But if the MCU came calling, Jennifer Lopez would take that fucking check,
and I would cut a promo.
That's the irony of her in that situation. Because there are a few people who have said they won't and still haven't. Mark Wahlberg said, I'll never get out of my trailer in some tights and a fucking cape. But again, Mark Wahlberg is problematic for what he did in the 90s. And still to this day, because he said he would have stopped 9/11. I forgot.
I would have taken my Iranians.
Yeah, he said, again. But again, and he still does cop movies, but he's a guy from Boston, so like it comes with the territory.
Yeah, he the reason why they had Ozzy Osbourne, a legend, on there instead of some rap music.
But I don't know, it's sad debate. It's just funny how it came around like full circle this week. Because Scorsese had been the person saying the MCU was in cinema, and then Tarantino again had to do the obvious, like, look, tag me in, Marty, the hot tag. Come on, I'm ready. Like,
and how many people other than us that's tapped into his movies actually give a fuck about? Like, these kids don't know who no damn Quentin Tarantino is. Like, if they knew what was said in his movies, they'll definitely try to cancel him.
To be honest, I think that's why they're upset. And the Spielbergs of the world are upset. Like, again, we talked about it briefly last week. Steven Spielberg made a movie about his life. Is anyone under the age of 25 going to care about Steven Spielberg's life story?
They don't even know who he is.
When his last movie was West Side Story, like,
I'm gonna watch it, but at the same time, they don't know who he is. They don't. No, it's nobody cares about the actor. Nobody cares about the director. I hate to be this morbid about everything, but this is the fucking life we live right now. We in the end game, people. Nobody cares about these people. It's just, are you gonna make me? Nobody wants to laugh anymore either. Are you gonna scare me?
No, because that's what's funny when Chris Hemsworth said, if I'm coming back to Thor, shit has to be different. I don't want to be ha ha ha.
Because nobody wants to laugh anymore.
Jokes. Apparently he's on the set of Furiosa, the Mad Max prequel, working with George Miller.
That shit been development hell. Damn.
No, it's because it took 8 years for George Miller to make Fury Road. It's going to take him another 8 years to make this movie.
Dog, because they announced the movie like 3 years ago.
Yeah, you know why? Because we're in the middle of the fucking desert. Like
dog, it's been taking them a minute to get this movie done. It's coming out 2024 too. Like I don't know. They just been
9 years after Fury Road, and Fury Road I think started filming in 2011.
Mm-hmm. It's worth it though. I really like Fury Road. So.
Oh no, it's brilliant. But what Chris Hemsworth is trying to say, like working with someone like George Miller, compared to someone like Taika Waititi, he's like, yeah, this laughing shit. I'm done with it, pal. Like
Did they just announce though he's going through pre-stages of dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that?
They said he is on track to develop Alzheimer's later in his life or something like that.
What type of money? Yo, that's some good money where you could be like, yo, my doctor said I'm gonna get dementia. Yeah, like
you can catch it at 40 or whatever he is.
Yeah, no, they got some good ass SAG doctors, yo, cause that's crazy.
No, that's that Thor money.
Yeah, cause it's like They could track when you
Again,
all kinds
how is Chris Hemsworth? And I don't blame these guys for, or when people are like, oh, ain't that Thor? Like when you're watching a movie, like the whole like you call actors by their oh, come on, Banks, shut up.
She asked me. This is what she asked me, and I
Yeah.
said no because I respect Booker T's wife. So then my refute to that is no. Give me that instead. That's the poster I want. That's the poster I've been wanting for a year. We're gonna go right up here. I'm gonna take Super Mario ass down.
It's gonna be, the fuck you doing?
Yeah, no, we gotta put this up here. Or I'll put it close to Coming to America. That's more appropriate.
He's like, it's a white women only on this wall. That's a white women.
definitely put, instead of Super Mario, had Princess Peach up there.
Yeah. And see, what do they?
So when you said nigga, what did you mean by that? Make some noise. Yay. Make some noise for the word.
Mark Wahlberg flying to the Vietnamese man. Make some noise. Like, whoa.
Chinese niggas have something to do with this?
And what did we talk about last week for a second? We're like, Chris Tucker made Brett Ratner when it came to Rush Hour and Money Talks and all that. Like, Brett Ratner wasn't a star director. He had a star in Chris Tucker that made this guy named to then continue to get jobs in Hollywood. He rode Chris Tucker's coattails to get to be able to make his shit movies, and then Hollywood rightfully got rid of his ass. In terms of Brett Ratner, but that's saying like stars make directors or directors make stars, or do the studios and the star system or the IP, and it's an age-old debate that goes back fucking years and years and years now. I mean, Harrison Ford exists because, like I said, he was fucking Han Solo, and then he became Indiana Jones, and then he became Jack Ryan, which again, IP from fucking Tom Clancy books, and that's why he was able to. I mean, I'm gonna tell you what I hate about acting. It's real. It's a pain in the ass. It's
look at the last person that self-made themselves, so to speak. Last two people, and this is how old the Hollywood system is.
Clint Eastwood
can go back. No, not even him. The studios made him because he had to do westerns. Like, to be a superstar back then, you had to do westerns.
No, but he had to go to Italian westerns because he was a TV western star, and then had to go work with the Italian western directors to be like, hey, I'm not a big star over here. Can you make me a star over here? Like,
I still a western.
And then, but if anything, he made himself a star once he started directing himself.
That's what you're supposed to do. You start booking yourself. He started doing the Jeff Jarrett.
He's like,
book yourself.
But Clint Eastwood's
He a better wrestler than Jeff Jarrett. That's what you about to say.
This is a real tough debate given Clint Eastwood's
a better promo. No, he didn't say
no.
No, both of them. I want to know who said. No, we need a triple threat. Quentin Tarantino, Jeff Jarrett, Clint Eastwood. A nigga off. Y'all got me saying the word. I don't even say the word. Y'all got me saying it today because it coincides with the joke.
You're king of the mountain, Jeff. You feel lucky, huh?
I'll tell you what.
Let me tell you. Hey, slap ass. I'll tell you something.
Slap nuts. You might have been in San Francisco. You know.
Marina fucking Del Rey or wherever he's fucking from. Yeah, like. No.
No, what was the movie when he was in San Francisco?
Dirty Harry. He's the San Francisco cop. But he's from with a town that's fucking near.
He from your area. He from the
Bay. I know. I'm not even mad at Clint Eastwood. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to think of where.
You know where he might be from, right?
Because he was the mayor of the fucking town near Pebble Beach golf course.
He might be from where the Diaz brothers from.
He ain't from Stockton.
That'd be fucking hilarious.
Because he be calling them the S word.
Oh no, he doing that now. What are you talking about? He definitely doing that now.
But it's an age-old debate because, like.
Now, you know who I was gonna say before we
say it because there's one ending point and then we'll wrap it up. But say who you're gonna say.
The last two self-made people in Hollywood was Charlie Chaplin and fucking lost my thought. Charlie
Sly
Chaplin,
Stallone.
no, and Lucille Ball. Self-made, self-booked. They was over because they made themselves. Especially
I
Lucille
think,
Ball. Lucille Ball is the godmother of like comedy.
yeah, and I know you have a lot of respect for the originators, and that's what they are, the pioneers.
But
Because
they
again,
was the last two, and that was fucking
Charlie,
nice.
you know, Charlie Chaplin is how we get Buster Keaton, and that's how we get Jackie Chan and a whole bunch of other influential figures. And but like you have to then look to guys like Clint Eastwood and like I said, Sly Stallone. Like he had to make Rocky to then get himself to years later do Rambo and then Cliffhanger and all the other opportunities he's able to. Like Hollywood didn't see nothing in this guy. He's like, I got this story that I should be in, but no one wants to give me a chance to do other stories. Like no one's taking a shot with me, so I'll create my own shot. You know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah. He made himself
thing.
a boss, but then he was like, I'd rather have a boss. I'm not knocking it, but after that, it was kind of like
people got tired, and that's the flip side of it. Like when you direct yourself, you drive others away because you buy into your own shit so much, which is why I've constantly criticized Dwayne because he'll pick these directors who don't matter. They're like Kevin Feige does. They're just pawns steering. No, they're just pawns steering the ship. I'm the guiding force. I tell you this. It's again like does Peyton Manning need an offensive coordinator? I'm fucking Peyton Manning. Like
you need somebody to help you get there.
Yeah, but it's like at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing. Like that's how those guys more often not think.
What is she talking about? What? I get the joke, but I'm trying to get the joke. They the same person, ain't they? Or you got that whole conspiracy theory?
Trying to get that there's two rocks.
Yeah, like this. They said there's two Donald Trumps, one with a red tie, one with a blue tie. I've heard that theory before. I hear a lot of these clones. I don't believe in chat rooms. Nah, I ain't in them chat rooms, brother.
Yeah, you are.
I ain't got on that app yet.
Did you not say you wish you could have voted for Donald Trump again?
I don't vote for none of these crackers, but still.
Anyway, the ending point that
I would vote for you for president.
Me? Why would I run?
You got the haircut for it.
At least I got hair.
I don't care. I'd rather be bald than have that shit. Go ahead, John Cena. In 06.
Is James Cameron. Again, like James Cameron is this guy, right? What's James Cameron's argument? Like, I wanted to leave Hollywood is what he had said. But then I created Avatar in a dream. He's like, in a dream. This idea, which is...
White people don't have dreams, so that's how I know he's full of shit.
Yeah, we have nightmares.
Y'all are the nightmares to society. Go ahead.
That is a fact. But like James Cameron had to buy into the idea that we didn't need movie stars, that we needed technology. But he's now fully invested until his own bullshit that it doesn't matter anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm listening to you.
I'm saying like this guy.
This bullshit.
You know what I'm saying like this guy created Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
More than because I think it's before Conan. No, it's after Conan, I believe. Is it? Let me see.
Conan the Barbarian that came out '86, if I'm not mistaken.
Because.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm actually interested.
Conan is 82. The sequel is the same year as
God damn. Really?
Yeah. I was like, I think Conan's the first. Because what's funny, maybe that's why he only has like 64 words in Terminator's. James Cameron's like, I don't trust this guy to act. But what does James Cameron do after Terminator? He does Aliens. And then he does T2. He creates what is now known as like the modern action blockbuster. He does True Lies. He then does Titanic, which is like the fucking weirdest movie I think someone could ever make. You know what I mean? Like
after coming off those, yeah.
No, not even that. Like how we talk about how is Drake gonna? How can someone do look what you've done and then hell yeah, fucking right? Like it's not even like that. It's like you want to make a movie about a ship that sank and spend all this money because you what? It's just like, and it's about a romance. Like,
On paper, it's not a bad idea, especially in that time, because it was the rom-com era.
no,
Was
it,
the
no, it is.
romantic.
It is when you see the budget for the film. I'm like, couldn't you just be on a set, like, and not need the money to explore the ocean yourself, like you would go on to do, like.
He's one of those practical guys. As we've seen, he bought out the
Well, that's because
whole.
he was like a technical engineer or whatever he was, like an electrician prior to being a filmmaker, which is always weird when guys have another occupation.
That's how you know he a thief, because once
don't you saying PG&E is?
I know. I told you the person that made Terminator, The Matrix, the black lady, right? I put you on.
Oh, you're saying that the stolen idea.
Yeah, she still. How you still have a 20+ year lawsuit against Warner Brothers off that, and it didn't get dismissed? Huh? Okay, that's what we talking about here. So he's a fucking fraud. He just taking that. I don't need 2, 3, 4, 5 of the same movie because you stole the idea, you remixing it. Like me and you talked about it. They about to squeeze 3 hours out of a hour movie tops. How the fuck are you gonna get 3 hours out of this?
I said it last week. It's cutscenes. That's all it is.
But that's what I'm saying. If he didn't have
action, you don't get to play.
So if he didn't have the technology that he has, that shit ain't making $1. And it ain't making $1.
But what's the star? Is it the property Avatar, or is it the name James Cameron?
It's the property, because the shit look good. Like, if he didn't have those graphics, ain't nobody going to see that shit.
Mm-hmm. Because again, there's no one in it. There's in the first one, it was Sam Worthington, like who we said before. Hollywood was like, this is our next guy. He clearly wasn't our next guy. Sigourney Weaver, who again, classic action leading star of the past. Michelle Rodriguez, Stephen Lang, who's like that guy, Giovanni Ribisi, that guy, and that one dude who's always in a bunch of shit. The guy who was the villain in Grandma's Boy. Like, those were the humans in Avatar. Those 5 people. And out of that, it was a bunch of... And Laz Alonso did voice for one of the... what do they call it? Na'vi. Like, that was... And Zoe Saldana did the other one. Like, those were the other stars in those films. Like, the property is the draw to him, but it was like, it only is the draw because you're the guy that made T2 and Titanic. Like, that's really why people care. And like you're saying, like the graphics, oh wow, this looks amazing in 3D in 2009. That doesn't matter anymore. We're past that. That's played out. You can't run the Wildcat offense anymore in the NFL. Like,
yeah, so I don't know, bro. Like, we talked about it. I'm gonna keep on burying this movie. I'm gonna watch it on bootleg. I can't remember. I haven't seen the first one since my fucking eyes feel like it was gonna pop out the socket in 2010 when I went to go see it at the theaters. But that's the last time I went to go see it. We talked about it last week or a week before last. Like, dude, that shit had my eyes hurting. So imagine going to the theater.
SpongeBob, my eyes,
dude. So imagine the 2022 version of it without the 3D. That shit still going. That shit hurt it. That's how your eyes gonna feel, bro. It's gonna
I was looking, and when I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, I don't want to in the theater. I'm like, I don't want to sit in here for 3 hours and watch just this.
This bitch is weird. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm saying that's the end point of like, this argument will continue to exist because a guy like him said, fuck movie stars. We don't need them. We need them wearing these fucking motion capture suits instead. Like,
well, he said that actually
because he's saying the story's the star. Yeah, the IP's the star. That's his argument. So, but like, and no one's calling him out.
Yeah,
in terms of his fellow directors, like this guy is saying movie stars. We don't need movie stars.
He onto something. That's the first original idea he's ever had. Because he's right. Like, it's getting to that point, and maybe that's why we all these Avatar movies coming out.
I told you, he said it in Entourage. Like, in 10 years, we won't even need actors.
That's what we get to.
And he's probably right, because he will have the technology to create voices himself, probably. Or I mean, that shit probably already exists. But he's like, I'll create an actor with this fucking voice.
Look, and that takes
engine.
Me back. So remember when that weird ass hologram shit was going on?
The Tupac one, you mean?
Yeah, so they said they was trying to do that with a lot of like people in general and put it in movies. So all these prominent figures from our life, they about to have an actor.
They've done that with deepfakes.
That's the new thing. There you go. That's the new shit. There you go. Look, motherfucking Koofy.
No, I'm saying instead of creating voices that from people from the past, he'll just create whole new people.
Which is fine, because that's where we going anyway. With the 3D headset shit from Facebook. That's where we going at anyway. People creating avatar. NBA 2K been doing that shit for 10 years now.
Yeah, he'll get to that point where
oh shit.
I am the creator. That's what he's trying to get to that point again, to tell a story about the natives and land. That's his thing. That's what it is. It's the white men have come over to take the land and the resources, and now this time it's in the ocean because this motherfucker loves the ocean. Like,
he's a fish.
I mean, but that was the only really thing. That's the only thing. Really, I mean, I guess I can do my. Should I explain what's wrong with Jake Gyllenhaal for 5 minutes before we wrap up? Because you had asked.
The motherfucker's just weird. You're weird.
Yeah, I think I said I have a theory for that. I think it's this guy really should have it all, right? When you see him, like, he's a talented actor, he's a handsome guy, like Hollywood has given him chance after chance, and it doesn't help that Taylor Swift keeps picking on this dude all these years later. Like, so I think he's just gone to the point where, like, it's fuck it. Because the video you sent it to me, right? About he didn't know Dennis Quaid was his dad in Day After Tomorrow, because they're now in this strange role again. Like, Jake Gyllenhaal has to do a voice over role for this Disney movie that no one cares about.
Right.
And his whole reaction. I also think Jake Gyllenhaal is the guy who in public will oversell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how genuine that was, because I also think it's a weird thing, guys like him, because like Hollywood said he was next up after Brokeback Mountain and Jarhead, and he was kind of on track to have this career. And the thing that took him down a peg was The Prince of Persia, and not because he was doing brownface. It was like, it's a movie that tanked. They thought it was our next Pirates. It wasn't, and they never made another one since, and haven't even attempted to make another Prince of Persia film. Did you play Prince of Persia real quick?
Yeah, I loved it. I had the Sands of Time, and then I had the third one. The first one I think I had as well. I had on the emulator the Super NES version back in the day. But
yeah, like Finn did the smart thing and tried to team up with Denis Villeneuve. They did Enemy, they did Prisoners. He tried to go like full serious actor. He did Nightcrawler, which people thought he should have gotten an Oscar. He did the thing where, like, I'm going to do a boxing movie and get in crazy shape, which is what he did for Southpaw. And he even did the Marvel movie thing. See, like, Jake Gyllenhaal had to go like, all right, I'll go play Mysterio for a movie, but that's it. I ain't doing another one. Like, the whole joke about him on that press tour is like, yeah, I'm in this movie. Just this movie. Like, please don't ask me to come back for another. It probably doesn't help that, like, his sister has like the universal love from like critics and other actors and writers, and you know what I mean?
That's the only love she be getting, apparently.
That's the thing. And even then, she's like, let's subtract the looks and The Dark Knight. I also don't think she's that good of an actress anyway. Harvey.
Yeah, she's not that good.
Yeah, but she has won these people over, and I think he has to compete with her. Like I said, while having like to be the fucking punching bag for Taylor Swift to this day, which is just like, all right, I was an asshole. So, like, he's probably the guy who like gets high a lot too, to be honest. Like, he probably smokes a ton of weed and just
no, he don't. We don't do that. We don't. Well, to white boys, they probably do, because white people be getting high, and that's the only time they believe in God. Like, dude, fucking saw the Rock talk to me, man. Not the Rock.
I think
the Rock 3 apparently, because it's two of them according to Hearts. But the Rock 3. and you know, fucking the rock got on fire. It's nothing like that. Like that's when y'all start believing in God, when y'all high. Otherwise than that, fucking what's the God, man? Like I got $100,000 in my
Yeah.
account.
No, legit. Like the whole thing, like he would just like he's this guy who like tries to live a quiet life, but apparently he spent like all this money on a couch or whatever she said. And I'm like, if you
That's
wanted
his
an
money.
expensive, I'm like, yeah, like again, you do Prince of Persia for some reason. Like you read the script, you know, like, well, this isn't gonna work, but how much they paying? Like,
Yo, why women always want a pocket count?
because it ain't going towards them, Banks. It ain't going towards
Right, women stay pocket counting. Like, damn, you spend all this money on a fucking rarity Spider-Man 1 action figure. Well, bitch, this is for me, not, you know what I mean? I can't say what I'm about to say. So it's like, damn, I can't spend my money on what? I done bought you all the fucking bags and lunches and dinners you want, selfish ass being.
But I think his thing is like the fact that he probably like is like this sad boy with again all this talent, and he should have been the chosen one. It didn't help too that like he was trying to make the same movie as Bradley Cooper, and the estate picked Bradley Cooper over him.
Who's not a draw at all. Damn, them 10 years is done.
Yeah,
that wasn't even a 10-year run. That was like a 7-year run.
No, he was a draw, and
for like 7 years.
No, coasted out that he reinvented himself because he fucking was like, I'm gonna direct myself like my idol Clint Eastwood. I'm gonna teach myself to sing better than Eddie Vedder, and I'm gonna put Lady Gaga over, and that's what he did.
Hooray! That was 5 years ago.
4 years ago, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's
because he's spent this time working on his next version of that.
Nobody want to see that movie.
Which is the guy who wrote West Side Story.
Like he has a movie where who is he supposed to be playing? Like some orchestrator?
No, yeah, they said no. Yeah, Leonard Bernstein, who created West Side Story, but they said he and fucking Steven Spielberg might remake Bullet, the Steve McQueen movie.
That's what I'm about to say. Yeah, the Steve McQueen movie, because they just announced that 2 days ago.
Because it'll be again Steven Spielberg, Mr. Like I have to save the arts. Is like these kids these days they don't watch Bullet. I gotta make a new. No, but he's like these kids these days they don't watch Bullet. I have to make a new Bullet.
Nobody want to see that. These kids don't know who Bradley Cooper is.
But you know what Jake Gyllenhaal has to do, since he cannot make that Leonard Bernstein movie, he has to go remake Roadhouse because he's like, fuck, I'm out of. There's nothing for me to do.
Like, dog, I remember during the writer's strike, they kept talking about all this. They said it's a remake for a remake. It's a comic book movie for a comic book movie. And I thought, eventually we'll get back to originality. I don't care, but I thought we'll get back to originality. No, it's actually gotten worse. Like, dog, no idea is original. They understatement.
The movies this year, I'll say, we'll say this right of the year.
Oh, that's going to be a 30-minute episode. I don't like shit. I only like 3-4 movies from this year.
It's everything else in the year. Movies, TV.
Oh, that's going to be a 30-minute episode.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't like shit this year. I didn't like certain most days this year. I didn't like certain movies. I ain't like shit from this year. Fuck this year.
All right. You know what? We're going to wrap this
talk about Peacemaker. Do this fucking dance. Get me out this year. Let me dance out the year like this. Shit. Get me out of this year doing that shit. Best thing this year was
Do you really want to taste it?
Best thing this year was Coco Jones.
All right, you know what? We're gonna end this episode. We'll probably be on Patreon talking about cop movies and why do we still see cop movies if the police are the bad guys in real life? That is. I'm trying to think of what is the last cop movie I didn't want to go see.
Shit, Bad Boys.
There we go. See?
That was it. Just to watch my old ass Mike Lowry.
But Banks, where can people find you on social media?
You can't, but you can at the BVD Pod if you want to find us at the BVD Pod on Twitter. Twitter's still here, everybody. Elon Musk trick y'all. By the way,
he did. What did we say? It was just like.
By the way, again, they saying that if your account was suspended a while ago, this following week it'll get unbanned. So I'm putting in my 20th complaint. Like, yo, unban. I told them, I just said straight out in the email, hey man, I heard they unbanning accounts. Y'all might as well go ahead and take care of mine right now. All right. So if they say no, I'm gonna just do it again. But no, at the BVD pod on Twitter, if you care to do that. Otherwise than that, thank you for being here. If you're listening, Banks versus Davis on YouTube. Hopefully by the end of this week, we'll be at 300 episodes. By the time this come out, we'll see.
Subscribers.
Yeah, subscribers.
You want to do 300 episodes by the end of the week?
I'm tripping. Hey, but if
Welcome
we
to
get
Banks
300,
versus Davis. Good night.
Yeah.
Like we just like
we about 140 away.
We'd have to
150, yeah.
But we'd have to do like Chappelle's 2-minute special for
Yeah, we a long way from 300.
You want to hear about thoughts about Bush? You want to hear about my thoughts about the war? Good night.
But yeah,
you can
go ahead. No, that's it. Just YouTube, Banks versus Davis. Like and subscribe.
Random Max Podcast. Come on, Wiretap. Come on.
Man, it's too much stuff I do, but yes, Random Acts of Podcast, patreon.com/Random Acts of Podcast, patreon.com/Black Announce Table, Wiretap every other week. All Elite with Keeks every Monday live. Sometime I'm producing, if not, Grandma's producing. Tap into them. Might be doing something with in the future with Public Enemies Patreon, Black Variant Patreon coming out, Reggae Boys Radio. I do too much shit. All right, I don't even like talking about all the shit that I do, other than the two main things. No bias to everybody else, or the four main things, I should say. Too much shit. Go ahead, Davis. Take it away.
You can find me on Twitter at Davis, aka Drip. Instagram, daviscoltondc. Like Banks said, make sure you're subscribing, sharing, liking, all of that. I'll be doing some best BVD coming up, like I've been doing for BRP. Some clips of us from this year. It was a busy year. It was a long year. But yeah, we appreciate you subscribing here, paying $5 on Patreon. Lots more content there. Again, it's stuff that we can't do on here due to copyright issues. So it's a lot of us talking about wrestling promos and reviewing those, wrestling pay-per-views, movie commentary tracks, all of it. It's worth it if you enjoyed stuff like we did with Fast Summer into the wrestling verse. It's migrated over there because it's easier, and that way we don't get in trouble.
Exactly. Oh man, he said it best.
But until next time, peace.